Business at 9. I'm Nivedna Prabhu, and our top focus for the hour: artificial intelligence and automation could wipe out nearly 100 million jobs in the US over the next decade. This is according to a report released by Senator Bernie Sanders. Now, the analysis, ironically based on ChatGPT findings, found the new tech could erase jobs from a wide range of fields, including white and blue-collar roles. Now, this leads us to the question, what about India? Recently, when questioned about potential layoffs rumored to be between 50,000 to 80,000 at the TCS, its chief HR officer, Sudeep Kunumal, firmly stated that a lot of these numbers are not factual, are extremely exaggerated and should be disregarded. But AI disruption is already reshaping jobs in India's USD 245 billion technology and CX, that's customer experience sectors. And without swift action, routine roles like quality assurance engineers and support agents risk rapid redundancy, NITI Aayog had said today. Now, the Aayog, in a report titled Roadmap for Job Creation in the AI Economy, said that while India's tech services sector faces the threat of significant job displacements by 2031, it also has the opportunity to create up to 4 million new jobs over the next 5 years. But how are both my guests reading into that tonight? What do they make of it? And more importantly, what does this mean in the larger scheme of things? Let's find out. Let me take that opportunity to be introducing Ajay Victoria, former advisor to Biden on immigration policies, joining us here tonight. Also joining us is Sri Parthasarathi, CEO and co-founder, Metaverse Consulting. Good evening to the both of you. Thank you very much for taking the time out. Parthasarathi, let me come to you. Given what we're looking at, very interesting insights. And the truth of the matter is, you can't ignore what is really happening here. But how do you first read into what has been stated?
I think I'm not in disagreement with that. There may be disagreement in terms of the number, but I think the way AI is rapidly accelerating today in this particular era, I think significant number of jobs. I think the first and foremost is, if you really look at it, I think it should not be about fear mongering. I think it's a question of how people should really look at it. And I think this has not been just with AI, but even if you take past technology that has happened in terms of industrial revolution, or even more recently, if I go back to the 90s in India, we used to have what you call as telephone operators who are operating in exchanges. The moment mobile phones and other things came, a lot of things changed. STD booths disappeared. And similarly, there are a range of jobs that have basically disappeared over a period of time. But people have adapted and gone forward. So similarly, if you really look at today, AI essentially would target any job that is structured, that is repeatable, and that can be automated. And that is one of the fundamental areas that you primarily look at. There are jobs then which essentially will disappear, and some of those particular jobs could be things related to copywriting, things like image editing, or any other things which are very, very routine. Even a telephone operator today is getting replaced by AI. So all of these particular jobs, which are very structured, which can be replaced with technology and AI, will definitely get replaced. But there are what happens is, I think everything is not lost.
As you point that out, I'm going to come back to you on some of the points that you initially made. But before I do that, let me also get in a word from Ajay. Ajay, how are you looking at what essentially has been stated here, right? Given what I had also asked initially, in terms of the fact that AI, of course, cannot be ignored, and with the way this is really put into perspective in terms of those numbers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I do not agree with the numbers which are coming from ChatGPT. But what I say is that here, the humans are here to embrace AI to make their life easier. If I start with large organization, there has been let's take a job of a recruiter, which is the job used to be a recruiter to source candidates and screen candidates and match resumes. And that job is now being replaced by AI. So what is happening is that humans are hiring AI agents as part of workforce, and the AI agents are working in collaboration with humans in the workforce. A manager could have humans reporting to him and few AI agents reporting to him. So like the job of the recruiter is completely redefined, or will slowly merge into HR job, and there may not be a recruiter job. But what happens is that the as long as the humans master the AI technology to assist them and free up their time so that they can focus more on customer facing, etc., though that will benefit the organization. But at the same time, when we are talking about trucking industry, or we are talking about patient care, as previous speaker said, that there are repetitive jobs or routine jobs or administrative jobs which can be done by AI. So for example, in truck driver, companies like Tesla, Waymo and Aurora are developing level 4 to 5 autonomous trucks that can navigate highways with minimal human impact. And this system use AI for route optimization, obstacle detection, and more and more. And then when they reach the destination, there are robots which will download all the stuff in the truck and do that. So this whole end-to-end supply chain can be automated, and there could be a change in job opportunities there. But then there will be a lot of new jobs which will be created as part of the AI. So I think we are here to embrace this change. And one AI year is equals to almost 7 to 10 internet year in the past. So this technology is coming very fast, and this will change the way we do business and work.
But while you speak of that, what I want to ask the both of you is, if that is the case, will millions be left without a job and be at the streets of it without, really mincing words as well? Quickly, let me take that from you, Parthasarthi. Of course, you can't ignore it, but there is a big reality. And look at what, Bernie Sanders has also said in terms of the solutions as well, which we continue to put out on our screens for our viewers to better understand it. But this is a harsh reality.
Harsh reality if people are not willing to accept. And I think a popular term that I use is, and if you believe you can be an ostrich, bury your head in the sand and think that the storm is not coming, then I think you will be displeased about it when it actually is hitting you. So from that aspect, I think one of the big things that people need to understand is they need to learn these particular technologies. And I think it is important. And I think it is not. It should not just be left to the individuals alone, but I think there has to be programs, a combination of public-private partnership, where people, for example, if there are people in private companies, then they should be upskilled to primarily be able to meet those particular requirements, that where they can possibly do assisted AI or use AI to do their job much better or more efficiently. And in other cases, I think where the government needs to introduce a lot of things and work with the educational institution so that our future workforce essentially is coming, which is completely calibrated in this particular technology. And then the current workforce, which is there, the larger population, I think as we look at it, for example, Ajay ji talked about trucking industry. But I think considering the traffic patterns in India and other things, other than the highways, I think we may not be able to adapt or adopt
while you point that out,
technology.
That is one way in terms of how you are looking at it. But the vantage point over here needs to be whether it's about skills or labor versus capital, right? Ultimately, that is what is going to set people apart in terms of how you have to embrace this. That is the truth of the matter. But Ajay, if I were to take that question to you, is it really about skills or labor versus capital?
It's more about skills. I mean, the jobs which are very highly automated and repetitive and data-driven. So that's where AI comes in at this point of AI revolution, and where they could replace, a lot of these jobs. But at the same time, when these jobs like truck driving or recruiter, or what we are talking about, robotic kiosk, which are eliminating the fast food jobs in almost, we have out here now in Silicon Valley. I was starting seeing that. At the same time, these companies like Walmart and Tesla are investing billions to cut labor costs, boosting profits. But what will happen is that it depends on our policies, how the policies are centered around that jobs which are repetitive.
I have to interject there, unfortunately, but we'll continue that conversation. Let's quickly listen into what Bernie had to say so that, overall we're getting that perspective for our viewers as well. Let's listen.
With no loss in pay. Think about it. Today, American workers are 400% more productive than they were in the 1940s when the 40-hour work week was first established. Artificial intelligence and robotics will greatly increase that productivity. Workers must benefit from that increased output through a shorter work week. A 32-hour work week with no loss in pay would be a major step forward in improving the quality of life for millions of Americans. Second, we must require large corporations to allow workers to elect at least 45% of the members of their boards of directors, similar to what already takes place in Germany. Workers need a seat at the table to best determine how AI is used in their companies. If Tesla workers were on their corporate board, I doubt very much that they would be rewarding Elon Musk with $1 trillion pay package. Third, we must greatly increase profit sharing at our nation's largest corporations. In my view, workers should receive at least 20% of the stock in companies they work for. Corporate profits should not just be going to enrich wealthy stockholders and the billionaires who own them. Fourth, we need to substantially expand the concept of employee ownership in America. When workers own their own businesses and are more involved in the decision-making processes, they will make choices that benefit everyone in the company, not just the people on top. Fifth, instead of providing billions of dollars in tax breaks to companies that are throwing workers out on the street and replacing them with new technologies, we should enact a robot.
All right, we heard what he had to say, but let me take that to you, Parthasarthi. More importantly, given how he's also talking about, do proposals like a 32-hour work week or a robot tax, what he's saying, offer practical solution to really safeguard workers?
Truth being, in terms of how capitalistic a lot of these things are, if it is a 32-hour week, then for the rest of the 8 hours, is the employee actually going to get paid, or is he going to be jobless? So I think that is one thing. So, and I think different people are going to look at it in different aspects. One is essentially an employer or essentially a CEO of a company and or the board, and how they are going to look at it, because they are always been focused on profits. And so from an employee perspective, I think there's no other option for them to possibly recalibrate themselves in that particular aspect. So previously you asked me about whether it's skills, capital, or whatever it is. I think from a capital perspective, or in terms of how people really look at it from their own personal wealth, I think it's going to be important for them to think about how they are going to adapt to this particular aspect. And second element that is going to be very important is as we restructure these and as we restructure these particular jobs, for them to definitely think about it in terms of making them self-relevant in this newer generation. I think there are going to be a lot of people who are going to struggle with it, because AI is a pretty abstract topic. But at the same time, if they do adapt to this, then I think the power in the economy today, if you really look at it, we have significant workforce. And at the same time, if we combine that AI workforce, AI to primarily make our workforce that much more productive, then I think there can be a significant multiplier effect when it comes to from India aspect, because not everything can be done by AI. So I think assisted AI and all the things that we can do, because eventually today, even if you take a call center, when anybody is calling a call center and they're going through the call tree, eventually what are they trying to do? Hey, I would like to talk to an operator because it's not able to manage all the exceptions, right? So I think which is where AI is also going to move.
Unfortunately, I have to interject you there again, because you want to get in as many viewpoints as possible. But all right, that's how you look at it. But what I meant is what he has essentially said is that it's a 32-hour work week, beg your pardon, proposing reducing the standard work week to 32 hours without cutting pay. And that's something I want to take to you, Ajay, because once, on one hand you have this, and he's also talking about ensuring AI benefits. So all advocate for policies that redirect the AI productivity to working people, countering the billionaire-driven automation that he's looking at in terms of the inequality. All in all, what does that mean, and where do things stand?
Well, I mean, 32-hour work is nothing new. Europe is already having 32-hour work week. In most of the countries, in Germany and many other countries, they have 32-hour work week, which could be a good thing for life and work balance. In US, But at the same time, what his projection, 40% of registered nurses, 47% of truck drivers, 89% of fast food workers replaced by robotics. And in fact, companies like Amazon and Walmart are already slashing tens of thousands of jobs through automation, and and also in most of the organizations this year and last year alone, there were thousands of layoffs of starting in HR and recruiter jobs and many other jobs. So definitely reskilling and learning the new skills to adapt with AI is important, so that people can master AI and use AI to their advantage. And with the changing jobs, the schools, colleges, curriculums have to change to teach the skills which are relevant in next 5 years, and so that the workers can adapt to the force. Or in this, there will be an aging out workforce who will have challenges in adapting to the new skills, and that could be the workforce who will have to redefine and find less paying jobs, or they can be getting out of the workforce. That's true. I mean, that's going to happen. And we see a lot of people getting unemployed right now here in Silicon Valley because their jobs are being replaced by AI, and which is happening right now. But this is a crisis and opportunity for bold action. Washington has to regulate AI ethically, and have to find out how invest in retraining and reskilling programs around the world. The impact may not be so much immediately in rest of the world, but we are seeing that impact in the US.
Right, Ajay, as you point that out, you're talking about how in adversity there's some sort of opportunity, but this conversation in fact can be decoded further. But for tonight, I'm afraid that's all that we have the time for. But Parthasarthi, as well as thank you very much, Ajay, for joining us here on the show. For the moment, we leave it at that. Time for a quick break here on Business at 9. Stay with us. We're going to be right back.